He told himself he wouldn't go. Saturday morning, Akihiko woke up in his pristine penthouse and went through his usual routine. Gym session with his personal trainer. Breakfast prepared by his private chef. Egg white omelet, no salt, black coffee. Review of business reports his father expected him to analyze. Normal, controlled, safe. But his mind kept drifting to warm brown eyes and a smile that didn't want anything from him. Slight pause, softer tone. Focus, he muttered to himself. He didn't focus. By noon, he'd made a decision. Or rather, his feet made it for him, carrying him to Shibuya before his brain could mount a proper defense. Slight self-aware humor in voice. Just to see if he's actually there, Akihiko told himself. Curiosity, that's all. Liar. Knowing, gentle. Even he knew he was lying. Pick up pace slightly, energy building. Shibuya on a Saturday was chaos. Tourists and teenagers, street performers and shoppers. The iconic crossing flooding with people every time the light changed. Akihiko had been here before, of course, but always in cars, looking out at the crowds like watching fish in an aquarium. Being in the crowd was different. Almost free. Soften, moment of discovery. He found Haruto near the Hachiko statue, exactly where he'd said. Set up with a small easel. A sign that said, Portraits, 2,000 yen. All proceeds go to paying my rent and feeding my catastrophic coffee addiction. Warm smile in voice. Even his sign was honest. Akihiko watched from a distance, half hidden behind a pillar. Slow down, observational, tender. Haruto was drawing a young couple, laughing as he sketched, making them laugh too. His hands moved with confident grace over the paper, creating with the same ease other people breathed. He was wearing a faded denim jacket covered in paint stains, a scarf that looked hand-knitted and slightly unraveling, and a smile that seemed to be his default expression. His injured shoulder was wrapped, Akihiko noticed, but it didn't slow him down. Gentle concern, then warmth. Someone asked if the injury hurt. Only when I remember it exists, Haruto replied cheerfully, which I try not to do. I'm very good at denial. Slight fondness in tone. He finished the couple's portrait. They paid him, delighted with the result. A small child came next, shy, clutching her mother's hand. Slow down. Make this moment precious. Haruto knelt down, winced slightly from the shoulder, and spoke to the child at her level. What's your favorite animal? He asked. Rabbits, she whispered. Mine too. Want to know a secret? I'm going to draw you, but I'm also going to hide 3 tiny rabbits somewhere in the picture. You have to find them all. Okay? The child's face lit up. Emotional catch in voice. Significant moment. Akihiko felt something strange in his chest. Something warm and unsettling. Return to narrative pace. He stayed for an hour, then 2. Slightly dreamy, observational. Watching Haruto work was like watching someone speak a language Akihiko had never learned. The language of creating joy from nothing, of connecting with strangers and making them feel seen. Every person who sat for a portrait left smiling. Voices for this brief exchange. Haruto warm and humble. You have a gift, an elderly woman told Haruto. I have practice and stubborn refusal to quit, he replied. But thank you. Tone shifts, slight tension building. When the light started to fade and the crowd thinned, Haruto began packing up. He counted his earnings. Akihiko saw him separate the bills into envelopes labeled rent, food, art supplies, emergency. The emergency envelope got the smallest amount. Pause. Internal conflict. Akihiko should have left then. Instead, he stepped forward. Slightly nervous, uncertain, Akihiko's voice. Does the offer still stand? He heard himself ask. Bright, genuinely happy, Haruto's energy. Haruto looked up, and his face transformed with recognition and genuine happiness. Akihiko, you came. Warm observation. No surprise that he remembered the name. Just pleasure. Like running into an old friend. Enthusiastic Haruto. Of course it stands. Seat. Formal, uncertain Akihiko. I can pay. Playful, firm, Haruto. Absolutely not. I said I owed you. Sit down before I change my mind and charge you double. Gentle, slightly amused narration. There was nowhere to sit but a small folding stool, probably stolen from someone's camping gear. Akihiko, who'd never sat on anything that cost less than $1,000, sat. Intimate tone, like we're watching something private and precious. So, Haruto said, setting up a fresh sheet of paper. Tell me about yourself while I draw. It helps me capture people better. Where do you work? Careful, guarded Akihiko. My father's company, Akihiko said. Narration, quiet. Not a lie. Not the whole truth. Direct, perceptive Haruto. Do you like it? Pause. Weight of this moment. No one had ever asked him that. Slow, careful Akihiko. It's what I'm supposed to do. Gentle but piercing Haruto. That's not what I asked. Narration significant. Haruto's eyes met his, gentle but piercing. Quiet, honest Akihiko, almost surprised at his own honesty. No, Akihiko admitted. I don't like it. Curious. Opening a door, Haruto. What would you do if you could do anything? Narration. Another question no one had ever asked.
Звездица sad realization. Akihiko Звездица.
I don't know, Akihiko said, and realized how sad that truth was. I've never thought about it.
Звездица genuinely sad. Haruto Звездица.
That's the saddest thing I've heard all week, Haruto said softly. And someone told me yesterday that their goldfish died. Light, breakthrough moment. Despite himself, Akihiko laughed. Delighted Haruto, warm. Haruto's face lit up. There it is. That's what I needed. The real smile. Not the polite one you were wearing like a mask. Narration, hands moving, artistry. His hands moved faster now, capturing something. Conversational, building connection. What about you? Akihiko asked. Why art?
Asterisco, no hesitaschen. Paschenit, Haruto.
Because it's the only thing that ever made sense. Haruto replied without hesitation. The world is chaos and people are complicated and life is hard. But when I'm creating something, it all quiets down. Just for a while. Like meditation, except I'm terrible at sitting still. So this is my version. Gentle probing Akihiko. Your family supports this? Pause. Smile flickering shift to more serious tone for Haruto. Haruto's smile flickered. My family is complicated. My parents died when I was 15.
Car accident.
I lived with my aunt until I was 18, but we didn't see eye to eye on much. She wanted me to be practical, get a real job. I wanted to honor the fact that I survived when they didn't buy actually living, you know? Not just existing. Sincere, Akihiko. I'm sorry, Akihiko said. About your parents. Bittersweet, accepting Haruto. Thank you. It was 7 years ago, but it still feels like yesterday sometimes. Pause. Then brighter, philosophical Haruto. But I think they'd be proud. I'm poor as hell and eating instant ramen most nights. But I'm happy. That counts for something. Narration, significant word. Dwelling on it. Happy. Quiet self-reflection. When was the last time Akihiko had been happy? He couldn't remember. Warm. Time passing. Deepening connection. They talked as Haruto drew. About art and business and the city and nothing at all. Akihiko found himself saying things he'd never said to anyone. Found himself relaxing in a way he'd forgotten was possible. Slight excitement building Haruto. Okay, Haruto said finally. Done. Want to see? He turned the sketch around. Slow down, this is important, awed. Akihiko stared. It was him, but not him. Not the carefully constructed heir. The perfect son. The empty vessel everyone poured their expectations into. This was him with soft eyes and a slight smile. This was him looking human, real, almost vulnerable, quiet, deeply affected. Akihiko, is this how you see me? Akihiko asked quietly. Simple, profound truth, Haruto. It's how you are when you forget to pretend, Haruto replied. Narration charged moment, slow, significant. Their eyes met and held. The air between them felt charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. Breathless, not moving. Akihiko. I should go, Akihiko said, not moving. Same energy, Haruto. You should, Haruto agreed, not looking away. Narration pause. Neither of them moved. Painting the scene, romantic city alive around them. Around them, Shibuya hummed with life. The crossing signal changed. People flooded past. The world continued. But in that moment, there was just the two of them. Vulnerable, hopeful. Haruto. Will you come back? Haruto asked. Narration, internal conflict. Akihiko knew he shouldn't. Knew this was dangerous. Knew he was playing with fire. Honest, inevitable. Akihiko. Yes, he said anyway. Bright, genuine. Haruto. Haruto smiled. Good. Narration, time passing. Routine building, warmth, and Akihiko did come back. The next Saturday, and the one after that. At first, he told himself it was just friendship, curiosity, a break from his suffocating life. Knowing, gentle, but it was never just friendship. Building emotion, poetic. He'd watch Haruto work, and his chest would ache with something unnamed. He'd listen to Haruto laugh, and the world would feel lighter. He'd catch Haruto looking at him sometimes, with an expression he couldn't read, and his heart would race. Shift, specific memory, intimate scene building. The third Saturday, it rained. Haruto packed up early, disappointed. So much for rent money today. Have you eaten? Akihiko asked. Playful deflection. Haruto. Define eaten.
Astérisque slight exaspération, font Akiko astérisque.
That's not an answer. Cheerful admission. Haruto. I had coffee for breakfast. Very nutritious. Decisive, wanting to care for him. Akihiko. Without thinking, Akihiko said, let me buy you dinner. Starting to protest. Haruto. You don't have to. Firm, sincere. Akihiko. I want to. Narration shift in their dynamic. Something shifted in Haruto's expression. Soft. Accepting. Haruto. Okay. Warm. Discovering new world. They found a small ramen shop in a side street. The kind of place Akihiko had never been to. Plastic stools, fluorescent lights, menu written on a board in chalk. Simple contentment. It was perfect. They sat side by side at the counter, shoulders almost touching. Enthusiastic. Haruto. This is my favorite place in Tokyo, Haruto said. The owner, Tanaka-san, lets me pay sometimes in portraits of his grandkids. Slightly disapproving but amused. Akihiko. That's not a sustainable business model for him. Warm, understanding deeper truth. Haruto. He says my portraits are worth more than money. Grin in voice. Haruto grinned. I think he just likes my company. His grandkids live in Osaka. Sensory, present moment. The ramen arrived. Akihiko couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten something so simple and so delicious. Watching for reaction. Haruto. Good, right? Haruto said, watching his reaction. Genuine appreciation. Akihiko. Amazing. Philosophical, then self-aware. Haruto. The best things are usually simple. Pause. Laughing at himself. Haruto paused. That sounded like a fortune cookie. Ignore me. Narration, emotional truth. But Akihiko didn't want to ignore him, didn't want to ignore any part of him. Time passing, deepening connection, they talked until the shop closed, until Tanaka-san started pointedly cleaning around them, until the rain stopped and the streets glistened under neon lights. Protective, not wanting night to end. Akihiko. "I'll walk you home," Akihiko said. Practical protest. "Haruto. It's far. And the opposite direction from where you probably live." Simple, determined Akihiko. "I don't mind." Romantic, quiet intimacy of late night. They walked through the quiet streets, past closed shops and sleeping buildings, their footsteps synchronized without trying. Building to confession, vulnerable. "Haruto, can I ask you something?" Haruto said finally. Open. Akihiko. "Yes." Direct. "Need to know." Haruto. "Why do you keep coming back? To see me? I mean..." Narration, moment of truth. Akihiko should have lied. Should have said something safe and non-committal. Raw honesty pouring out. "Akihiko, because you're the only person who makes me feel like I'm not drowning," he said instead. Narration, stopping. Significant moment. Haruto stopped walking. Akihiko stopped too. They stood there in the empty street, facing each other. Brave. Needs him to know. Haruto. Soft but clear. "Akihiko," Haruto said softly. "I need to tell you something." Quiet. Akihiko. "What?" Honest, vulnerable, protective of self. Haruto. "I think I'm falling for you, and I needed you to know that before this goes any further. Because if you don't feel the same way, I need to protect myself. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not good at pretending I don't feel what I feel." Narration, heart racing. Fear and hope. Akihiko's heart was thundering. Internal conflict. He should step back. Should explain about his arranged marriage. About his family. About how impossible this was. Instead, physical action, decisive. Instead, he stepped forward. Whispered confession. Akihiko. Emotional. "I think I've been falling since the moment you smiled at me in the rain," he whispered. Exhale. Relief and joy. Haruto. "Oh." Haruto breathed. "Oh." Reality crashing in. Akihiko. "This is impossible," Akihiko continued. "My life is complicated. I can't offer you anything real. I shouldn't even be here." Present moment focus. Haruto. "But you are here." Echo, acceptance. Akihiko. "But I'm here." Simple wisdom. Haruto. "Then that's enough," Haruto said. "For now, that's enough." Narration, the moment, slow, precious. And when Haruto reached for his hand, Akihiko took it. Significant, first time. For the first time in his life, he held someone's hand just because he wanted to. Deep emotion. Coming home. Felt like finally coming home. Painting the scene, romantic, suspended moment. They stood there in the empty street, hands intertwined, and Akihiko felt something he'd never felt before. Hope. Dangerous, beautiful, impossible hope. Building realization. He was falling in love. He was falling in love with someone he could never have. Pause. Then quiet revolution. And for the first time in his carefully controlled life, he didn't care.
Thanks for watching. What do you think happened in the next episode? Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more episodes and more enchanted stories.